Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very, very much for inviting me to Web Summit this year, also through the good offices of Yvonne Cabinga. But tell me, you've been a bunch of times to Lisbon. Tell me about Web Summit. What does it mean to you?
To me, I've been going for several years, and
Okay.
to me, the Web Summit is uh, it's a recharge of my battery. I go there. It's this high energy event. It
Mm-hmm.
is almost like a festival. There is food trucks. There is lots of people doing crazy things. There is bands walking around playing music.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there is these uh, then there are speakers that tell you stories that are too wild for imagination, that they inspire, they are high energy, and I love that. And to
Cool.
put to top it off, then there are like high-tech startups that inspire me as well. So it's on the one hand high inspiration, high energy, on the other hand nice food, great people, and it's in Lisbon.
So, which speaker or talk triggered you the most of the Web Summits you've been to? What's like the standout moment?
Many. So the one that stuck with me the most, but there's a lot that I can still recall, but the one that
Right.
stuck with me the most was this guy that talked about what if you could plant a tree
Right. Plant a
when
tree.
your child is born, and
Right.
then as the child grows up, the tree grows up and turns into a house. The
Ah,
tree is
yes.
basically the generational home for your child.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
I love that.
Very, very cool. Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
think it's
and
possible? Can we engineer trees that way? I mean, that's a whole lot of mass to convert and structure in what,
yeah,
20
but
years?
we're already growing chairs, we're already growing tables. There's this British farm that
Hmm.
basically has this process of growing a tree into a chair, and then when the chair has grown, they just cut it off, and you have a fully mature chair
That's
that you can sit
amazing.
on, that works. Every chair is unique, but every chair is functional and you can use it. So
Right.
it is possible. Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. And Raymond, were there things that you picked up at Web Summit and then applied in your own business, in your own context when you got back?
Always. Every single year, I have something that sticks with me. So last year, for example, I went to this talk about open source software.
Hmm.
And I always already was a fan of open source, but uh, I realized the effect of what open source does to the community, and how it is structured and the process behind it. And this was, funny enough, a talk by a Microsoft engineer.
Hmm. Hmm.
Microsoft is not necessarily associated with open source, but after that talk, I
Historically,
realized
no, but they
no,
are
and
doing a
but
lot of work in this space.
they're now the number one open source developer in the world. So they work on Linux projects. They bought GitHub. They do a lot in the open source space. So,
Yeah.
and I realized how important that is, how
Hmm. Hmm.
and how it works. And I put a lot of the lessons of how they work in open source, how they can work remotely on teams that are all over the world that work on different components of the software. And I put that knowledge into my own business.
Excellent. Great. Yeah. So just this morning, we had a brief conversation about a talk that we saw yesterday at Web Summit about content creation. And this is very much something that we're looking to integrate in our current business. What are your current thoughts? What do you see as an achievable success for us?
Um, well, basically, two things that stuck with me from that talk. So the one thing was simple: just do it, just start. And
Right.
I agree. It's not easy. It's sometimes difficult to just start. especially if you're a perfectionist like me. Um, it's never good enough. So, but that reminds me of what basically everyone in software tech says is,
Mhm.
if you're proud of what you're shipping, you're too late.
Right.
This is the same. If you wait till you're proud, then I have a full, completely video studio here, and I don't have time for that. So
Right.
this is good. The other thing is consistency.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and the guy that was talking, he was a journalist. I unfortunately didn't know him. I started following him after yesterday, but he always records his videos in front of a white wall. So he even selects, when he goes on vacation, the hotels he goes to
Right.
make sure that
It's
they
like
have
his
a white
signature.
wall.
He's got to have the white wall.
Exactly. And he always wears a gray suit with a tie. That's also his signature. So he made this identifiable persona white wall, and in front of that white wall is him with his suit and tie. Um, and that consistency, that level of consistency, I understand how that works. So yeah, those were two lessons that I'm going to apply in my business.
I see. So just start, be very identifiable, recognizable, and be consistent. Like have consistent output over time, not just in the way it's presented, but also in frequency. Right?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, let's take that to heart and let's get it done. So
Yeah, let's
this
do it.
year, Web Summit online, Web Summit on the web. Um, I'm new at this, right? But I was
Yeah.
lacking a certain something that I had kind of come to expect. What about you?
Yeah, the high energy isn't there. And it's not hard to explain, right? So yesterday I went to a talk by David Guetta, and I've always been a huge fan of this guy and his
Right.
music,
And he's a
but
real
also his
performer.
he's a performer, and the energy he has on stage
Yeah.
comes basically, he takes that energy because he has a group of people in front of him.
Right.
I know that as well. So I teach, and when I'm at the university, the energy of my students
Right.
gives me energy.
Right.
So
Right.
if I see that my students are a bit like,
Yeah.
then already my class becomes worse. But if I don't have students in front of me, or if I
Hmm.
can't connect with them,
Hmm.
then I lose that energy. And I think
Yeah.
that is a huge difference. And I see it in all of the talks. People that were amazing last year
Hmm.
now feel like they're um, lacking a bit of energy
Right.
in their
Right.
in
The
their talk.
champagne has no fizz.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah. That,
the subjects are all a bit conservative.
hmm.
So the subjects are a bit more conservative, which is
Hmm.
also very understandable. If you've been locked up in your home for a year now,
Right.
your mindset becomes less optimistic. If you're less optimistic, then you
Yeah.
cannot really
Yeah.
come up with ideas that are less
Yeah.
conservative.
And I
So
mean, it might be a bit wrong to be all about the Kool-Aid in a year where so many people have lost and suffered. It's not cognizant of the time we're in. So I think the talks were very appropriate. There was a lot of coverage about how companies, individuals, and societies deal with COVID. There was a lot of attention on climate change. And I mean, to go back to what you said before, I've seen a lot of experienced didacts and performers fall flat on their face when the camera lens is in front of them instead of an audience. And by and large, stage actors aren't film actors, and vice versa. But you can bridge these domains, and there are several great examples of that. And um, I mean, not to claim anything, but I did a lot of stage acting as a kid and a teen, and then I started performing in a movie, and I had to learn those different dynamics. But that was very valuable thing to learn, because it helps me now to kind of reach through the lens and connect to people. And I hope I'm somewhat able to do that, but I definitely have a lot to learn. Somebody who impressed me yesterday was Ursula von der Leyen. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, it should be part of her skill set, considering the position she's in. But she was informative, engaging, witty. It's
but that's
it was one of the standouts for me.
yeah. I told you this yesterday as well. But every year the Web Summit is opened by the president of Portugal, the
Hmm.
mayor of Lisbon,
Hmm.
um, Gutierrez, who is now the UN president, but he used to be the president of Portugal when way back when I started going. So um, he's been well. This group has always been part of the Web Summit, um, and then there's always someone from the European Union in the last few years. And
Hmm.
I told you this yesterday. That talk from the European Union, but also from the leaders of Portugal,
Hmm.
they have this inspirational, um, out forward-looking vision of where they
Yeah,
want to bring the world.
yeah.
And I think even with everything that's going on with COVID, they had an inspirational talk yesterday as well. I would have hoped to see a bit more from the Portuguese mayor because or the mayor of Lisbon,
Right.
because what is happening there, right? What is happening in Lisbon right now? Normally, every year the city is overrun by 70,000 tech entrepreneurs.
Right.
A lot of them stay, right? That's the nice thing. I told you this many times. I
Yeah.
love Lisbon. I love the energy.
Hmm.
If I
Hmm.
could,
Yeah. Me
I would
too.
move there.
Yeah.
And the energy that is there is amazing when you're at the Web Summit. And the 70,000 entrepreneurs that overflow Lisbon, a lot
Right.
of them stay. And every year, I hear in the main hall, which is this sports arena, the center stage, I hear people around me talking when the mayor and the president and when someone from the European Union. Last year it was Margaret Vestager.
Hmm.
They inspire, and to be honest, I don't know my local politicians to be that
Hmm.
inspirational.
Right. But
So
yeah, yeah, okay. So maybe we don't have really personality politicians yet, and the ones that we do aren't my personal favorites. But we do have, by and large, I think, competent politicians, both at the
definitely,
national and at the municipal level. So, I count our blessings there.
yeah, true. But I love how they have this um, energy that they say, okay, we're going to do this, and we're
Right.
going to make Europe the number one
Yeah. Yeah.
continent for
Yeah.
digital and
Yeah. Yeah, and I
sustainability.
think it creates a permissiveness to dream big and then execute on it, because
Definitely.
as a somebody who embraces the vision and wants to build on it, it feels daunting and lonely,
Yeah,
because you feel like you have to convince people. And then
yeah,
when you are amidst everybody thinking and talking like that, and then somebody from a really like established, important, powerful institution like the EU says, we're gonna freaking do this, we're committing billions, we're committing talent, we're committing, square kilometers of big cities to this. It feels permissive and enabling. You're like, yes, okay, I'm not alone in wanting to change the world for the better. Let's do this. And
and
that's,
absolutely right. And I think that's the Web Summit. It
yeah,
allows it is this place where you're allowed to think big,
right.
and
And
um,
expected to then do it.
yeah, yeah, and you always meet the same people, so that's
Mm-hmm.
also nice. It's you see that number of people that things like this is relatively small,
Right.
um but yeah, so I'm
And
already looking forward to going to Lisbon next year again.
and do you see the progression? Do you see like people that are startup 1 year and then a couple of years later are scale up, or that have done some of the things they were committed to doing?
Yes, but on the other hand, you also see that it's a slow process.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Google started in 1996. You
Mm-hmm.
might
Mm-hmm.
feel old when you realize that. Is that there was a time when I was alive that there was no Google.
Right.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
and the same is with a lot of these other startups. Yesterday there was the CEO of Vimeo was talking, and she said that Vimeo was now 16 years old, and I was like,
Whoa.
oh wow, okay, I'm old. Um, but it's a slow process to make a company big,
Yeah.
and I think that is something you realize when you are at one of these tech events, because
Right.
you meet the same people every year and you see that they have progressed, they are further along where they want to go, they still have that energy, they still have that founder mentality that we talk so much about,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, but they are not like the billion-dollar company yet. They
No.
are
No.
better.
But yeah, it's the overnight success takes 10 years to build,
Yeah,
and a great company is somebody's life's work,
yeah,
literally.
definitely, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta say, I'm happy to be a part of it this year, and I do get a lot of that inspiration and permissiveness and um, validation that yes, all right, this is the path I'm on, and there's many people on this path, and we'll get there.
yeah, yeah,
So
and then
that's great.
keep in mind that next year is even better.
Yeah, I hope so. Let's really hope and work towards that next year can be an in-person event, safely and at scale.
Yeah,
Because yeah, I'd really like that. Really looking
yeah,
forward to it.
no, definitely. I same feeling. Yeah.
All right. Just a quick question to round off. What are the top three things that you pay attention to at this Web Summit? Like meta trends or things that you kind of are like, okay, I want to figure this out for myself or for my businesses, and I'm looking for the thought leaders in this area. What are these areas that you're looking at?
Um, well, it's an explorative summit, right? So it to me it is looking at what are the themes that will be important next year.
Okay, okay.
Um,
So you're listening for
so
the signal.
yeah. So I pick up signals and I look at what is so one of the signals that I saw this Web Summit so far is that we are struggling with the work from home thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, I've seen companies that so there was this
You're thinking
pre-recorded
about the
we
Slack talk, right?
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
It was pre-recorded because
Yes.
they
Yes, for
didn't
sure.
talk
They
about
didn't.
the
They didn't reference the acquisition, so it
exactly.
had.
So
Yeah.
it was pre-recorded. So the Slack talk, the founder of Slack was talking about how difficult it was for him to see his team working from home. This is a company that builds software that allows people to work remote, or to have teams work remote.
Yeah. It was the
And
CTO, right?
yeah, or
Yeah.
CTO, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The same with Box,
Mm-hmm.
the SaaS company. Same thing. They just didn't know how to um, to organize the work from home
Right.
area. But
Yeah.
and they also couldn't tell what the office would look like in the future. They all said the office will not look the same. The office will be
Mm-hmm.
different. It will be more of a place where you go to talk to each other, network, but not to necessarily work.
Right.
Um, but they were talking that they, for the first time ever, were helping people buy external monitors for working at home. And
Wow.
I was like, I was flabbergasted.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I thought that these companies were already,
They had it figured out. Yeah.
they had it figured out.
Yeah.
This is the next generation of software companies that we all look up to that
Right, right, right.
they
And we
are
kind
the
of assume
example.
that they're digital natives because they're enabling us to be digital natives.
Exactly, and
Yeah,
even they didn't know.
yeah,
So that was one
yeah,
of the
yeah.
signals and trends that I really found interesting.
But I think that's what emergence is all about. I mean, Henry Ford didn't initially drive a car to work. The Wright brothers didn't fly to work. That's
Yeah,
not how it goes. You build what's next from what is.
yeah. No, definitely
So
true. Definitely true.
yeah,
So yeah, that's the kind of things that I try to look for. What are the like signs that I see that I can work with next year
right.
in the new context of us collaborating? I look for what can I write content about,
Yes.
because you've challenged me 2 articles a week. I have to prepare. Um, uh, so that's the things that I'm looking for. What is interesting? What can I learn from? What are signals? And of course, always what are cool startups that I think, hey, this can be some kind of addition to what we do in our
Right,
services.
right,
Maybe we
right.
can coach
Things
them
that'll fit in
somewhere.
the portfolio.
Exactly. So I
Yeah,
already made a list of startups for Port Excel that I think
yeah.
these startups fit in Port Excel. Maybe they're already on Port Excel's radar, maybe not, but I made the list, you know?
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Well, we'll reach out to them and yeah, see maybe
Exactly.
they came up with the same ones. That would be very validating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a couple of interesting pitches tossed my way, so we'll look into those next week.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, the Mingle feature, I was really happy with it the first hour or so because I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, this gives some of the networking and some of the engagement with serendipitous meetings that you wouldn't have otherwise had. So this is something that coming into Web Summit, I was looking for because I'm part of a bunch of communities that are now
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to not just survive online, but be able to do their thing and grow and attract new members online.
I
I was
the
looking for
at
this
your
feature. I was enjoying it. And
Yeah.
then after an hour, I think we tapped to each other on Slack, like, what's with all the hard sell?
That's yeah, and I think it was a time because I came back in the evening and I
Right.
started mingling and I had good people again.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think it is the thing that I learned from that because I love it. I love the mingle feature. I immediately had 10 business ideas coming from it.
Right.
And I got into that entrepreneurial mindset again. So never a good idea to do that, but I wrote them down.
Always a good idea. It's just, focus, focus.
Focus. Yeah. Focus. But uh, I think one thing they need to do is curate it better.
Mm-hmm.
So um, there's a lot of companies, as you said, most of them IT service providers that can build everything you want in the world, but don't have anything that I'm interested in.
Mhm.
If I want something built, we know who to go to, right? We have
Right.
David. If we want
Right.
to have something built, we have David. David is our builder, and that's how we do things. But um, when I'm mingling, I'm not looking to have something built. I'm looking to see what people have already built. What have they done? What is
Yeah. Yeah. Show
their
me, don't sell me. That's
exactly?
yeah.
And
We should put that on a shirt.
yeah, there's already a shirt. Get out of the building. Show me, don't tell me. There's so many shirts coming up. Yeah, no, it's the mingle function is great. You have to have a good slot. Like there have to be other people there that are interesting.
Mhm.
So don't go at the same time of a good talk. I think that's a
Right.
good
Right.
idea.
Right. Right. So
Uh,
it is an interesting feature. The matchmaking algorithm could be a little bit better. People
or
have
you
to.
curate, right? You can curate. There hasn't
Yeah,
doesn't
but I
have to
think
be.
that's what matchmaking is about because maybe there is an audience for those pitches,
Yeah,
but that's not necessarily us. So I
true.
think I hope that the Web Summit algorithm learns based on the feedback after each match and kind of converges um, to the kind of connections that you want to make.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I think. we have another 2 very interesting days coming up. It'll be interesting to see if there's a difference between each day, because the Web Summit organization and their and whatever they've got going on behind the scenes in terms of algorithms is learning and is getting better. Let's
Yeah.
have a look at that. We'll
Yeah.
do another check-in tomorrow. I think we are off to a great start, honestly. I'm going to do a
Yeah.
little bit of post editing and then put the sucker online, see what people think.
Go for it.
All right, everybody, if you liked our talk, please. Okay, so that was an interruption, I think, by my
Yeah.
iPhone. Okay, connected tech. Anyway, what I was asking is if you like this video, if you have some thoughts about it, please share them so we can get better over time, and tell other people who you think might be interested. We are just starting out, thankfully, with a kind of a backpack of previous experience, but we do need to get the word out and engage with people we don't know yet, to find the success that we don't yet know anything about, because that's what it's all about, right? Emergence and hopefully a little serendipity. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Bye bye.